Hello class, welcome to our next lesson. Now make sure you've got everything you need today. You're going to be wanting to have once more your ruler, just an eraser and your preferably 2B pencil. So have your visual diary ready, and if you've got all those together we can start. Now we're going to redo our mannequin, but we're going to move him this time. So when we did our stick figures, when we simplified our structure last lesson, we looked at how to move the body on different angles. So this time we're actually going to do it with our mannequin. So here's our mannequin. So when you get them, they're sitting straight up, standing straight up, standing straight up. So when we were doing these, we actually started moving it around here. And we just used the lines, we didn't use the mannequin, just to show that you can do that. Once you've got the idea of the structure, you actually can do it without having a mannequin, but it's great to start with. And when we come to do our artworks, if you've got one, that's the best. It's always best to try and do it from real life if you can. Okay, so what we're going to do is follow some of these ideas. Now, we'll leave his abdominal area straight because, like we talked about last week, I might bend it a little bit like we did there, but if you remember, it doesn't actually move in these models. So what we're going to do is tilt the top part of his body on an angle. So, and we'll take his head with it. So we'll make it that it's a straight line like there and then there. So we're going to do a repeat with a real mannequin of that shape. Okay, so you should be familiar with that from last time. What we might do though is change the arms around. So we'll keep this one simple. We'll just leave that coming straight down, I think. And maybe we'll, like we did here, like we did in this one, we'll put a little bend in this arm. Yeah? And that way we're following this part of the model you did last week. Okay, so let's just change his legs a little bit. Let's just put a slight lean on this right hand leg. So if it's coming like that, we'll put the foot coming down a bit, I think. Yep. And that way it's almost coming back to the center line. This here is like the center line you're going to draw. And we'll get the other leg and we'll just put that, tuck it behind so that we've got some overlapping, because we haven't actually done an overlapping yet with our model. So let's do that. So you can see there's the center line where the legs you're going to draw, and the legs are going each side of that. This one comes back virtually to it and this one will go behind. Okay, so let's get started. Now the first thing I want you to do is rule yourself your central line once more. We're always going to be doing that at these stages so that we can get used to how he's going. And I have gone back to ruling one. I've already ruled one, and I have gone back to a 3 centimeter head, just so it's bigger. This was the 2 centimeter. This is the size that it was. So just so it's easier to see your mannequin, I've just redrawn this one at 3 centimeter head. So 8 times 3, remembering our 1 in 8. This one is back to being 24 centimeters straight down. There's my 0 and there's my 24 on my straight line. Now when we did this simplified structure last lesson, if you recall, we put it on a slight angle. So do that again. You can actually rule it if you've got your center, if you have your center line drawn, you can actually rule a little line to keep it straight if you like. And as you noticed, he doesn't bend here, we're bending here at the waist. So remember how we talked about if it's on an angle, if it's curving a little bit, the head will curve too. So your head will fit in this region here. So there's our mannequin's head right here, still at the 3 centimeter mark, but we've just tilted it a bit. We are then going to put the neck and the shoulders like so. So if you drew yourself a line here, like we did on the mannequin, that's to the waist, and this will be our hips. So this is our halfway mark. Head top of the legs, feet. And remember what we did when our shoulder moved, so did the bottom, because it's a T shape. Remember we drew our T shape on the back. So when we drew our T shape, remember? So there's your T shape, and we will bring that on an angle as well. So it mimics the shoulder. Shoulder's on an angle, the bottom of that's on an angle. Then we'll go back to what we did last time. We'll just draw the bottom half. It's not going to join up exactly. So I'll make that a bit higher, and we'll bring that around each side. Like so. Okay, see how you go with that. So that's the abdominal area here. Might make it a bit wider. And last time we were talking about the fact that your mannequin will be contracted here and expanded here. And that's true with a real person too. So what you can do is, if you wanted to stand there and lean, you will feel on this side there's a little bulge because it's contracted, and on this side it's really stretched, and that happens for people and our mannequin. So we will be putting that in. So what you should have is, I might tilt it just a little bit to make it more interesting, but there we go. So there's our mannequin's body at the base, and here we are at the top. Okay, here's the contracted little bit of the mannequin's middle, and here's the wider bit, and that's what will join it together. Okay. Now if you remember with the arms when the mannequin's standing straight is about waist height. Okay, so you can see that there. See now, it's just on the slightly higher side. We'll do the straight arm first because that's going to be easiest. We'll put the ball joint in, and we will bring the arm so just a little bit higher than the waist because the shoulder's on an angle. Draw your elbow, draw another line about the same length for the forearm. Then we have the line, the circle there for the wrist, and then we have the hand. Remember not to make the hand too small. So you should have your 3 parts drawn: upper arm, lower arm, hand. Yeah. Now we'll turn that into the cylinders like we did before, straight out and down, out and down. And the raised triangular area for the hand. And I'll just clean mine a bit. My charcoal moving all over the place. Okay, we're half there. Right, now with this other arm, like here where we brought it down, let's do that just maybe a bit more of an angle. So same length, bring it down, elbow, mine's a fraction long there, elbow, and then we'll bring it out again, wrist, and then hand. So resembling the stick figure, just moved at a slightly different angle, but that's your basic structure once more. Underneath the mannequin, you can see you can get the poses ready. Just then connect them together with your cylinders. Nice and simple. You should be getting potentially faster at this now because we've drawn them a few times. You can have the hand up or down. We've actually got the hand this way on this one, so there we go. Just clean my messy lines a bit. So once you've achieved that, we'll move straight on to the legs. Now, as we said, you've got your centre line drawn, and this is representative of our centre line here, the metal bit that's holding the mannequin up. So we curve out and then back just past that line. So let's do that first. Now the same as the waist was halfway there, the knees are halfway here. So you can put a little mark. Slightly higher because the fact that he's going to have a bend in the knee, but just draw the ball joint there for the leg. Draw it down to the knee, ball joint for the knee. We're going to bring it right back to the line, ankle joint, and I think we'll just bring it like so. So like we did on this here, just putting the line going for the bend in the knee. It's probably a bit more bent than the model I've got there, so I might just close that in a bit. It'll be better. Okay. If it's too much of an angle, he's not going to hold himself up. All right, then all you need to do now is join those together. Let's go. We have the thigh, calf muscle down, and then our foot is actually a little bit of a shape more like so on the mannequin. Even this comes around behind, but let's just do a simple version of that. And there he is finished. One leg. So you should have that finishing on your centre line. My centre line's here. Let's just put in the joint. We're going to take this one on a bit more of an angle out. And take this about mid-calf, I think. The ankle's hidden a little bit behind the first leg, what we were talking about, overlapping. So once you've done that, create your cylinder. And a little bit of the foot just on an angle there, just ducking out from behind. So just show a bit of that there, like so. And that's the basics of him there. Mannequin positioned, front on. Nice and simple, quickly done. You can then, if you want to put the shadows like we've done before on this side, you can. Just note that on the arm it's going to be underneath because the light is hitting the top. We might put the chest in there, side of the face, okay. So there he is, pretty much done. Now if you have a mannequin at home, hopefully it's not too messy there, you can see that easy enough. Now if you have a mannequin at home, what I'd like you to do is actually just keep repositioning it in a few different angles, just like we did with these. If you don't have a mannequin at home, that's fine. Just use the idea that we did of the simplified figures and flesh them out, create the cylinders. Yeah. If you've got a pencil, you don't have to draw it this large. I need to do it a bit bigger just because of the charcoal so that you can see it. If you want to do coloured pencil on it or a bit of paint, feel free to do that too. It's quite quick. You may like it just in black and white. If you do, you're finished. If you want to continue, like here, I can literally just grab some of my colour, my watercolour, and colour this as well. A little bit trickier with the charcoal. I might pick a brighter colour. So when it's in your book, you can literally make it exactly how you want it to be. Quite simply, quite quickly. Obviously, if you were doing this carefully, you could spend a lot of time just making this really nice. So you put in as much detail as you do or don't want on your mannequin. Keep the image there. Some of you probably end up wanting to do a few more little things to it. That's fine. This is quite grabby, this paper. Not the best one using a phthalo blue because it's so grabby. Okay, so that's moving the mannequin done. Nice and simple. Based on this, off you go and have fun.